Welcome or welcome back to Detailed, an original podcast by RCAT. This is a show where we uncover lessons learned to help you navigate your next project. I'm Cherise Lakeside, Senior Spec Writer at RDH Building Science, and your host. My guest today is Ezequiel Ruete, alias Nardo, co-founder of OVO Patagonia and co-founder of Perspectiva Aerea, or Aerial Perspective, the architectural firm that developed OVO. Ezequiel Ruete is a creative developer and an aerial artist. His work bridges architecture, aerial performance, and embodied practices such as highline contact improvisation and breathwork, exploring the balance between gravity, space, and sensitivity. With a background rooted in entrepreneurship and innovation, he designs immersive experiences that invite people to connect with the heights and expand their imagination. The project we're talking about today is OVO Patagonia in El Chalten, Argentina. In the wild heart of El Chalten, Argentina, where the winds carve into granite and Mount Fitz Roy rises in the sky, OVO Patagonia redefines what it means to arrive. Suspended 270 meters, that's over 800 feet, above the valley floor and integrating a geomechanical design, its translucent capsules cling to a sheer rock wall. An experience once reserved for elite climbers, now transformed into a rare encounter with Patagonia's raw magnificence. Now let's get into the details. Welcome or welcome back to Detailed. I am super excited about my guest today. My guest today is Ezequiel Ruete, alias Nardo. They call him Nardo, co-founder of OVO Patagonia and co-founder of, let's see if I can not mess this up, Perspectiva Aerea, or in English, Aerial Perspective, the architectural firm that developed OVO. The project we are talking about today is one of the coolest things I have ever seen. It's the OVO Patagonia in El Chalten, Argentina. Basically, these are hotel rooms hanging on the side of a cliff. Ezequiel, I am so excited to talk about this. Welcome to Details. How are you?
Oh, I'm really grateful to be talking to you today, Trace. Really, I'm very excited with this conversation.
Well, I'm the one that's grateful because this is just so unique and interesting. I have, as you've seen, a million questions. So we'll start with my icebreaker question. And usually I ask some silly question of my guests, like, if you could be any animal, what would you be? But as I was reading more and more, and I trolled you on the internet outside of the information you sent me, it was like, no, I need to know about this person. So for my icebreaker question for you to get us warmed up is for you to tell me a little bit about you, your background, and how you ended up here. This is I don't know anybody. I mean, I've worked in architecture for, I won't say how long, a long time, a lot of years. And I don't know anybody that does anything like this. So tell me a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I come from an artistic background, like a technical artistic background in a way. Also, like from a somatic background, so it's a different background. Um, I've been doing since I'm very young a practice that is called highline. That is, the people that is walking through the mountains in a webbing. So I've been actually developing the sport in Argentina, and that development took me to know about lots of measures of security measures and of textile systems to put us to fly in the air. So I've been working with that lots of years, and that took me to make also artistic productions, big stunts in the air in Buenos Aires, in stadiums and in the mountains. And I've been with that background. And so that's like a part of 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 my background of how I how how I ended up doing this. But another important thing is that 6 years ago, in all these productions, I met my partner. That he's actually an architect. So um, Luis Aparicio is my partner, and with him, we started at the start developing aerial structures. I was doing aerial shows, and we met in the mountain, and I asked him to help me to make an aerial cube that we were making, and we started working together, developing how to make. Um, Structures in the air and to inhabit them. So that was our start, like a very creative start in a way. So that first interactions bring us a lot of questions, like very important and hard questions. We needed, for example, a mechanical engineer team to do these structures that we were thinking about. So we started investing our time and our time and all our jobs in making a mechanical engineer team, because we were dreaming so strange things to do that we needed them to be grounded. So that's like a little bit of from where I come.
Well, I will tell you that I saw some pictures of some of your highlining aerial stunts, and I think you are crazy. I've jumped out of an airplane, but I would probably not do. I'm too much of a klutz. I would fall off, and it would be really ugly, and it wouldn't be any fun. So let's talk about this project. So obviously, this is so beyond unique. I get to interview a lot of architects about unique projects, but never anything like this. So for specifically the OVO Patagonia project, who is the client here, and what were you looking to achieve, or is this your
Mm,
own deal?
no, so the important thing of this is that OVO Patagonia is in a private land in El Chalten, Patagonia.
Okay.
And so in this private land, there is a big private land. There 6, 7 years ago, Federico Echevarria, that is our client that today is our partner, but at the first was our client. He called us because he was the developer of Estancia Bonanza, that is the property name. So he was developing Estancia Bonanza, and he called us because he knew that we were working with an engineer team and that we were doing aerial stands and that we were doing aerial structures. So he called us and literally called me and say, "Hey, I know you are crazy, and I know that you are crazy, but with grounds. I know crazy, but doing things that are actually um, signatures. I mean, with engineers' signatures. So you're not so crazy, but you're crazy. And I have this wall, this big wall in this property, and I would like to put something there. So actually, at the moment he called us, we had a common reference that is a Peruvian project, um, that are capsules in a wall, and we we knew, because we come from the background of the rigging. Me and my partner Luis, we were lots of years working on rigging concerts, big rigging stands. So we knew a person that also worked on the Peruvian systems, and we had actually our own design from before that Federico called us. So we were very, very agile because we already had a design and we sent a drawing. about how, like a first idea that how what would we do there. Um, so the story is very long because at the start he started as a client of us, but the project was so complex to do, and it had a lot of things to work, that we became partners of him. So we became partners of the project to make him. So that's like the first story, how it started. It was a call from from a client that became a friend and a partner also.
So, before we get to our next question, why did he want to do this? I mean, I'm assuming that people can come rent these. Um,
Mm.
what made him even? I mean, I would not sit there and go, "Oh, I have a big rock face on my property. I'm going to go slam some pods on it that people can come stay in."
Yeah, so
What motivated him to want to do that?
so Fede is like a really creative person. So it's like he has like a very beautiful mind. He thinks different, and he wanted something in the property. So he was developing the property. He's actually continued developing the property. So he wanted something really different. And also the important thing is that the wall, it has a perfect or direct perfect view to the Mount El Chalten, but it's actually like the iconic mountain of the zone. So it's like he connected dots. He knew that he has a wall, and he wanted to make a different experience there. And he knew that that wall was facing directly to the Fitz Roy. So he thought about, I think he first thought about the creativity, and then we saw the business on it. But first of all, we all three, because actually we are three in the project. It's Federico that is like a main part of the project, and then Luis and me that we actually like made it happen. We do it, but we do it with him because he was the first that opened his mind to see that actually there can be something, there can be a habitability in a world. So we were thinking it with Luis, we were designing them, but we didn't match with someone that say, "Hey, I have this world. What can we do?"
Everybody with a wall is going to be calling you after this. Um, so, before we start getting into specific details about the design of
Yeah,
these things and the construction,
yeah,
just give me a broad description of the scope of this project. What was it you decided? Once you've decided we want to do this, and I know you already at least had the beginning of a
yeah.
design, which I'm sure morphed for this new location. What was the broad scope? Like how many units and kind of what were those units supposed to include?
Yeah, so we actually now we have 4 units, and we started with these first 4 units because that was the first macro area that we studied. So this project has different angles. When you started, we started. Actually, it's very weird. The zone that we started studying the condor areas. So we knew that condors are big birds that are
Right.
living there. So the first step of the project was actually studying the condor areas because we wanted to include the pods and not make the condor areas move. You know,
Right.
so we wanted like to respect the condor areas that were actually condors around. Also because we wanted to the final experience, the people be around condors. It's like it is a double intention, but it's a good intention. It's like how can we study this world um, because we are gonna implantate there the things, but we want to respect the species around. So at the first we thought, I mean, that's in the territory thing, the first steps. Then we can go more in that way. And in the second, we thought about vertical circulation. That's the thing that it made this project. We think that is like a very differential part of the project. We thought about the vertical circulation and the three levels. We wanted to make a pot for two persons that had a bathroom and that had a chilling area. And actually, the design is the thought of the design is to have three different, totally different areas to live. So actually, in the three levels, you live very different sensations. So if we do an horizontal level thing, you actually are always in the same level and with the same feelings. And here we wanted to create three different feelings inside this one pot. So that was like the first start of the design. We wanted like a vertical circulation and three levels of experience, and also to respect the the species of animals that were around. So that was like the first grounding of the project.
So so you have 4 right now. Is there a plan for more, or are you gonna wait to see how these do and whether people want to? I can't imagine anybody not
Yes.
wanting to do it, but I
No.
wanna do
Yeah.
it. I wanna go to Argentina right now and go stay in one of those.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, we have a master plan. Our master plan is four more and a suite, and a different type of suite that we are also inventing. Um, but we are observing our travelers, making better the experience and taking our time to make, because this is a very special adventure night. So we are taking the time to make it better and better and better in the details, like in the details of the experience. So, but yes, the idea is expanding also because we've in all these years we developed a new tip, like our own construction system in the walls. So we want to test it and get it better. So yeah, yeah. The idea is to continue.
So I think we've already answered this, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. So these are being used as a vacation destination, correct?
Yeah,
For
actually,
travelers.
it is. Yeah, it is a one night. It is a one night experience. Um, many people thinks that this is a hotel. So uh, we thought this as an experience where you can sleep. So you know the difference. We have the services of a hotel, actually. Like we have all the services as a hotel. Um, but the design of this is an experience that you will never forget, where you can sleep. That's like an important thing that we wanna get clear also, always. You know?
Kind of like those people that go like in the far reaches of Finland and camp in a tent in Arctic temperatures just to see the northern lights, or an igloo. Obviously, this is
Exactly.
way cooler than that. So I'm curious, how do you even begin planning? Again, I've worked with architects pretty much my entire adult life. How do you even begin planning for the design of something like this? Like, I understand you already had a design kind of to start with to then morph into what you wanted it to be here, but my mind is
Yeah.
blown. Like, how do you even, if you sit there one day and go, I'm going to build this thing to stick in the side of the mountain? I mean, where do you start?
Yeah, so the first thing I think that is always the team. You know, the heads, the important heads that we working in important areas of the project. So we knew that we have when we had the territory. So Fede, that is our partner, our client, first our client and then our partner. He was watching the territory and giving all the details that we need about the wall. We went there many times, then we were living there, but at the first, and then we made a small a closed table with an architect that is Luis, a mechanical engineer that is Eduardo Aparicio, Emiliano Marcos that it was our head rigger. Today is our manager. Um, we had in our warehouse, in our workshop, we have our Mauro Alereta, that is our welding master. So we started making a small group. We like to say that we are small, but thorough. Like we work very near our products, very very near with small teams, and so then each of them um, had their own directions to bring to the table. For example, the mechanical engineer team had a lot of like three or four more engineers back with working with them, doing the specific calculations of the winds and of the weldings and all of the structures. Our rigging master was working in all the protocols of the mountain of how to work with the people in the rigging system, what type of systems we were gonna use. He had in some moments of the project, he had 25 people working for him. Um, we had our welding master. He had 6 or 7 people working with him, also in the welding properties and in all the structural things. Luis, with the architectural, have also 2 people drawing with him. Um, so we were actually leaving the project. We were all the time working for it. With Luis, we were making the strong decisions, like the big decisions. What what type of studies we had to do at the start? So we started doing geomechanical study. So once we studied the condor areas, we defined a macro zone in the wall. When we defined a macro zone in the wall, we started with a geomechanical study. It is a geologist specialized in geomechanics. So at the same time, we were working with a team in Buenos Aires, doing the designs, and with the engineers, they calculated the type of weight this project, these capsules should have. So at the start, we thought that we needed some lightweight structures, so to be easy to move them through the wall. But no, we need a very uh, uh, with a high weight, with a lot of weight structures, because of the winds. Because there's a lot of winds there. Actually, there's a lot. So um, we had to be all the time working in crossing information between the teams. The geomechanical studies were made for the solicitudes that the engineer teams made, but the engineer teams needed the design team to finish the pieces. So it was like a very fun organization. So we started studying the wall. We made the macro geomechanical study and then a micro geomechanical study. So first you study all the wall, and That means that we had to go to the wall and actually rappel all the wall and take rocks from the wall and go to the laboratory and break them and know what type of specifically rock and the crosses of the it's a very specific thing. The geomechanical study is a very profound study. So then actually we went to the micro zones. So there's zones where we actually wanted to put the pots. So we need to study all zones. They're like 30 meters per 20 meters. It's like 50 meters per 80 meters area where we were studying three different zones per four. So 12 zones there where we were taking samples of the rocks. So that study, that was a long study, give us the implantation zones. So when we had the implantation zones, we could start thinking, how can we get them up? Because uh, here where with Luis, we had these like strong decisions to make. Is like, what type of system are we gonna use to put these pots up? So there's many problems you face in that type of decisions. First of all, we could make a road around the mountain, um, but it like that would mean to take down a lot of trees, and that would mean to have motors inside the woods. And we wanted the woods to stay clear because we wanted to, first of all, we wanted to do not damage the woods. And second, we didn't want it to have the woods with species displacements also. So we wanted all to maintain. So an important decision that we made, that it was a very good decision, is one day that we thought, why won't we do it through the air? I mean, uh, why not? Because the thing is, the wall is it has a difference of 270 meters from a plane that is down there. So um, we had the background of rigging lines of rigging in the mountains many years. So when we want to rig a system to work on it, first of all, we think on how to cross a line from dot to dot. So we know when you want to put a line from a mountain to another, you have to start thinking about how can we cross the line in this gap. So actually, at that moment, we were already using drones for it. So we used a drone and a fishing lane, for the fishing. So we connected a 500 meter distance. So from the top of the mountain to down, we have 500 meters. So with a drone, literally, Luis up, me down, he fly the drone, and we connected the two dots. So we made a system with a cable that fishing lane progresses to a 4 millimeter, 4 millimeter like a paracord. Then it progressed to a 11 millimeter rope. Then it progressed to a 6 millimeter steel cable. Then it progressed to a 13 millimeter, 13 millimeter steel cable, and we put that between two towers. So we didn't tear any tree, and we only put four big balls up and four big balls down, and we made a removable system where we could carry all our charges up and down and resolve all our logistic problems with a cable. So starting with a drone is crazy, It's like it's a very soft way of starting this type of project. So we actually started with that. We made also the climate is very extreme there. It's extremely extreme. It's very harsh. So we had to do, we say, windows of working. We open a window, we do an objective, we close the window, everyone to sleep to their homes and get ready for the next window. So our first approach to the territory was the system of carrying all the materials, and then the next problem we had. You asked me, well, I mean, you stop me when you need, and because
No,
I
no,
can continue talking.
I'm fascinated.
Okay, so at the same time we were doing that in territory, we were working on the structures in our workshop in Buenos Aires. So the next problem when you have the carrying system is that the next problem is that the collocation of them, the installation of them. So um, because our lane, we will say a lane, our aerial lane was only one, but we needed four. So we we need, that means that the one that we had, we need to the so I'm gonna go back a little bit. Our capsules are, we were divided in three. So each capsule, each OVO is 6 meter up per 3 meters uh, wide.
Right.
So um, we decided to divide in three the capsules,
Mhm.
um, and like to put up each of the floors. So that means that we needed to go up with the first third of
Okay.
it, and to get it up to the mountain, this 500 meters up, and then disconnect it from from the steel cable and progress the wall for 45, 50 meters for the first one. So it was like a big progression through the wall. And it was like the first piece was like a 360 kilograms. The second piece was like a 650 kilograms. And the third piece was like 350 kilograms also. So like that progressions were a very, very extreme parts of the labor, for sure. That was a big moment of it. And not only because the progressions are very specific and the movements of the pieces are very specific, but also because we didn't knew if it was possible or not. We were. I mean, it was the first time. It was the first time in the world that we were doing these things. So there were not experts to call. When we called experts, they say us good luck. Like we didn't have. So it was like, yeah, a very interesting moment. Also because in the rigging moment you have windows of climate. So you- perhaps you have one piece up in the mountain, and if it is bad weather coming, you have to put the other two pieces on that because it's not gonna be good for the installation. So it was a very strategic moment and a very strong moment. Um, Also, we put the first one, and we needed to wait to see how it was relying on. I mean, because from the design to the color to the installation, you always have like differences. Uh, so we needed to observe. We actually observed 1 year that structure. Um, so yeah, it was a very important movement. So the installation was one of the most beautiful parts of the project and the most stressful
I was
ones
just going to
also.
say, stressful is the word that comes to mind. So I have a question I didn't warn you about, but it popped into my head while we were talking about this. So before I go to the next question, um, so typically in any country, the United States or any country, if you're building something that people are going to live in or stay in or whatever, you do the design. And then that design goes to an authority having jurisdiction, whether it's a building department or a plans review department or something like that. And in wherever you live, and then they look it all over and then they say, okay, you have permission to build it. Did you have
Mm.
to go through any kind of with code officials or anything
Yeah.
like that kind of process? And how the heck did you get this approved?
Okay, so at the first moment we started with the project, we couldn't sign the project because our engineer team wasn't from the same province of of the installation. So we started working with an engineer, with a big engineer firm that worked on that province. So the engineer firm, it has like two hands, two important things. Is first of all a second a second a second like eye to all our documentations, and they are the ones that present the project to the province. So it's the architectural and engineering office of the province. It's a public office,
Right.
so you have to present that. So they presented that, so we have a third eye to it, that are the ones that actually say, okay, this is an okay project. We have two filters: our small team that work in all the finite calculus and all the like precise calculations that had to present to our own engineer that has to sign that. So that goes to the office of the engineerical signature of the province, and then all that documentation goes to the province in cross also with the ambiental studies. So we have that and the ambiental studies is from the scratch. From scratch, we were working with them. Oh yeah, it
Well,
was a
that's
long process, like a 2 year, like a 3 year process.
that does not surprise me on a project. I mean, I know regular old houses that take like 2 years in some states in the United States, and this is not a regular house. So let's start talking about the pod itself, starting with the exterior, not the interior
Yeah.
yet, just the exterior. Tell me what kind of materials, what is this made of on the
Okay.
outside? And I heard you talk
Yeah.
about insulation, and I saw all glass. I'm like, where do you have insulation? So tell me about the glass and the
Yeah.
framing and
We are not
everything.
wo- we work with polycarbonate,
Hmm.
plastics,
Hmm.
8 millimeter polycarbonates that assure us, because the structurally the pot, it is from steel, from metal, yeah, steel, acero we call it in Spanish, is steel, galvanized with a process of, I don't know if it is galvanized. Do you know the word
Hmm.
galvanization? Yeah.
Hmm.
So it has like a back and a two and two levels of structure. That's the structural part of the pot. It is like a back, like a straight back, and two different platforms that make the structure. Or all the big weight is there, and then we have what we call them ribs, like that they are like cuts that they go down from all the structure in a curve. So that ribs we connect them with the polycarbonates, and we made that the combination of the polycarbonate with the ribs and the steel structure made the structure very solid to the winds. So it was like we needed something that was the election of the polycarbonate was because we needed some curvature to make tension. We put that polycarbonates in tension. So it's like um we would say that it's a tensor structure itself. Itself with the mountain is a tensor structure, but inside we would say that the structure comes from the structural wall and the two platforms, and then it gets tighter with the polycarbonates and with the ribs there. So also you have to think that down the structure we have uh, all the weight of the structure comes to a point that is all the weight of the structure comes to an IPN. I don't know if you call them IPNs. It's a big steel that comes from we put it from the mountain out that receives.
I saw this. So
It's
like
like,
it's like a steel grate platform is probably what
yeah,
I'd
it's not,
call that.
yeah, but it's not the part that is down is not a platform itself, but it's
Okay.
only a steel from this and from this wide. It's like 1 meter and a half wide and like this. That is a structural point
Okay.
that receives the weight. But is um, the cool thing is that okay, there's now I'm mixing with the rigging system because all the structure all works with the rigging system because this wall of the capsule that gives like the front to the actual wall has four legs that uh, the legs are going inside the wall, pulling the capsule down, uh, uh, pulling the capsule out of the wall. And at the same time, the capsule has two cables that bring the capsule inside the wall. And at the same time, it has three structural cables that tense the capsule up to the wall. So the capsule is like supported but tensed to the wall and also tensed up and has these four legs. So totally we have 9 points of connection to the wall and the four legs. But I went to another question,
Well,
perhaps.
no, that's okay because that was going to be
Yeah,
my next question anyway. Is how are these things secured to the cliffside? So let me expand on that a little bit. Because I'm going to mix the next question in with this too. Uh,
yeah.
so I'm sitting here picturing in any rock face I've ever seen. We have all. I'm in the U.S. in Oregon, but we have places here like Smith Rock where people go rock climbing, and I've seen my share of a cliff front. So what I'm sitting here thinking, as a person who has no idea how you would do something like this, is how deep do you have to go to secure this thing? And what about things like falling rock and erosion? And
Mm.
how do you assure this thing is, because this is what I need to know before I go stay there. I need to know this thing is not going to fall off the face of the mountain.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
I mean,
So for the
how
first,
far in do you have to
yeah,
go?
for the first question, I will give you our far point, but we is a very strong recommendation that we cannot use this as a common factor because we studied this wall specifically.
Right.
So this is not a regular measurement. It is a very specific measurement of that specific zone of that wall. So we use in an average of 1 meter profound uh, drilling of
Mhm.
1 meter inside, and 42 millimeters drill, something like this, and a 37 millimeter wide steel rosquette bar with the chemic inside. So this 4 or 5 millimeters between the bar and the hole are full of the chemistry, and so we had to bolt to make these big bolts, and then we used a machine. We were working with Hilti, that is the Hilti, that is the working guys.
Right.
So they came and we made a pull test to them. So the pull test was 35 tons. We had the anchor points, 35 tons in extraction, and they didn't even move. So
Wow.
for 2 minutes, 35 tons in extraction. So that was the test of them. Um, so that's like the system, but I would say that if someone wants to do it, you have to really study the rock. That's the first thing you have to do. Like there's not as a common regulation for that. You have to study it.
Well, yeah, and that makes sense to me.
Yeah,
Before we start talking about the inside of
yeah.
this thing, how much does this weigh? With
Two
everything
tons.
all done, 2 tons.
Two tons.
Um, so, what would you say in the design portion of this project? What would you say was the most challenging thing that you had to work through? All of it, every step?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if I literally it was every step, but because also for you to give you an example, we work this work without electricity, without phone coverage, without Wi-Fi, and we had to literally work with radios all the way. We didn't have communications to other parts. We were inside a mountain. So I think one of the things in these projects is communication always, because you need to flow. At some point of the project, we were 35, 40 people communicating in radios. So also to get inside the property, you have to cross a very big river. So each of our materials were crossing or through a bridge that is 1 meter 20 wide and 113 meters long, or crossing the river actually when the river is low. So our workshop, we had two workshops. One workshop in Buenos Aires, we made all the pieces. Then we brought all the pieces to Chalten, and we have another workshop there. And the workshop was from one part of the river or one side of the river, and the installation was in the other. So we actually had to connect watching the river. When the river was down, you had to have your piece okay to cross the river. So that's like the minimum things that I want to say to the people to know what's the context of this definement of project. But actually, I would say that the more stressful part was the first connections of the three capsules. I mean, that was like the the moment that all of us were waiting, and we were watching if actually we could do it or not. So to see the three parts in the wall connecting, that was our main focus, and the more defiant part of the project. Then we have a lot of the more of defiances or problems in the project, because actually when you see the images of the project, you see what we show, but we also made 5 houses up in the mountain. We made bathrooms. We made all the conditions for our workers to live there of the project. So that's all. That was also a very stressful thing to actually build a lot up in the mountain. Um, but the most mystical moment of the project and the stressful moment was the connection of the first capsule. Definitely.
Hopefully, you had a big party that night when you saw it
Yeah.
all come
Yeah.
together. I hope it was a
Totally.
big party.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. 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 We have yeah. We eat a cordero. It was a very big moment. Yeah.
before we get into construction, because I've got about 1,000 questions about that, I won't ask them all today, but let's talk about the interior. So, the pod's up, it's attached, it looks like it's going to stay there. Now you had to work out these because it has 3 levels inside, correct?
Yeah.
And you've got some amenities in there. Tell me about the interior of this pod. If I were to go, we haven't got to that question yet, so don't tell me, but if I were to go get into this thing, what do I
Yeah.
see when I come inside?
Okay, so the entrance of the pod is in the middle area. Is in the middle level, where you will get inside and you will leave your bag and everything hanging in the door. You will take out your helmet and your harness, because you will be with the harness and the helmet, and put it all in the door of the capsule. So there you have a small living room where you have a table that is a glass table, a small glass table, and two seats where you can sit, and like the thing is that this middle level is a level where you would eat, and you will have your first sides of it. So you will have these things to
Binoculars?
to your binoculars, and you have a small door where you have a coffee machine, a small refreshments, and like chocolates and teas and hot water and lot of things. There we will explain you about the heating system we have, and you have the lights systems also. And then you can get inside the small bathroom area. We have a dry toilet there. Dry toilets are perfect for this type of situations, because we have like a dry toilet with a small water system of 15 liters, where you can brush your teeth and clean yourself. You are coming from upside, that is a shower. We have a shower, but it's not in the pot, but it's up. So we are already showered, and now we are down. That's important, because you have 1 hour walk up, then you get the shower, and then you go down to the pot. So you're already showered. Um, and we have a dry toilet there, that it has a type of organic bag, that then we take it out and we compost it. And the dry toilet has like the thing that we pour to the toilet, it takes down the smells. So it's a very cool dry toilet. Um, and then when you get to another zone of this small place, you can open like in a boat. You can open like a door in the floor, and there's a stairs, and you can go down to the net. So in the lower part of the capsule, we made a small net for chilling that is exposed to the direct height of the capsule. So it's a very interesting zone of the capsule. I like it very much because we have like like I don't know the word cushions. No, like these things, like
Oh,
to
pillows or yeah, cushions or
pillows. Yeah,
pillows. Yes.
yeah, Chris, you have like pillows, and it's like a chilling area, a net. We net it with paracord, and you can see direct down 110 meters direct wall you have down. So it's a very interesting part of the capsule. And then you can go up, and then there's a stair to go up, and the upper level is all a bed. It's a complete bed. So yeah, so the upper level is the more is more for the night, to see the stars. To yeah, it's a pretty intense experience with the stars, and with the climates there. So that's like the three spaces there we have.
So you only touched on this, so I'm not sure I'm clear. Is there a kitchen like that you can actually cook in, or is it just stocked
No, no,
with
it is
food to
it.
get you through the night?
Yeah, no, it's you have a room service there. We have a chef. We have a chef up the mountain that is living there. We have chefs, we have our guides, and you have room service literally. So we give you the food, but in the capsule you have your things to go through the night, like water, hot water, cold water, like a small fridge where you have like chocolates, some details. You have your coffee machine, um, and it's like yeah, it's like the minimum things for you to be comfortable, and to perhaps but you know when you are there that you have a personal guide, so you can ask more tea, more. You have also wine. You have wine. I mean, you can. It is a moment to chill out, um, and to enjoy the views because we are there for the views and for the feeling of nature itself. Like there's strong winds going on there, so it depends the night that you have. It depends the winds that you will have. So we explain a lot of that. We all our experience is based on what type of night you are getting on.
Okay, I have to ask because I just can't wait. It's coming up somewhere later in my questions, but I just can't wait. How do you get in? You said helmets and harness. Like, do I get to zip line
Yeah.
into it?
No, no.
No,
Yeah.
that would be really
No,
cool.
yeah, that'd be very good. But it would be difficult to operate. So, and also for the room service. But no, we made a way with steel. We put steel, like
Stairs.
yeah, steel stairs through the wall. So if you people checks the Instagram over Patagonia, there's lots of images of the steel stairs. So you are actually walking to the wall, to your capsule. You never hang, you never rappel. No, you
Oh,
actually go walking to it. You go walking. It's we had 75, we have customers of 75, 80 years last year to our capsules. So without a problem, like you can go walking to there, but you're going to be walking with 270 meters direct exposure. So it's a very strong walk, but you are totally secured with a cable, with a thick cable, and you are with a guide. So you are actually never alone in the experience. When you're in the capsule, you're with the people, with the person that is with you in the capsule, in the OVO, but you are all the time knowing that you have your guide. And there's a pretty strong connection, emotional connection with our guides always. Like people get with our guides very, very good. It's a very good thing.
So I know that this is another question I didn't plan to ask, but it's things are popping in my head right and left. I know that like mountain climbers, I've read a few books about mountain climbing expeditions. I'm not a climber, never will be a climber, but I think it's really cool and I love to read about it. I know that like when they're going to climb Everest, they have to acclimate because of the different,
Yeah.
in the altitude. Do you have to do that here at all?
No, because we are not in a big altitude in terms of the sea level. We
Okay.
are like, 1,300 meters from the sea level. So it's not high in terms of the sea level. It's okay.
So I want to talk about construction a little bit because I mean
Yeah.
that could probably be another 3 episodes all by itself. So you've told me how you mount these things into the rock, so we know that. But
Yeah.
now I'm thinking, okay, we've talked a little bit about getting the materials across the river and then building more of the pod. But I'm thinking about your typical project, and you have your construction workers that have to build. They have expertise in different areas and they have to build this thing. Was it all completely done before you mounted it into the mountain, or did you have to do any work in it once it was mounted in?
No, yeah. We mount the structural, I mean the steel and the polycarbonate structures were the structures that we get up. Every other part of the system we had to make it when the capsule were done there. Yeah. Because the connections between the platforms we had to be clear. We couldn't have the integration made. We would love to make it down, but our construction system couldn't allow it because we need the platforms clear because the platforms like it makes like this, like they connect to each other. So you couldn't have the wood inside. We are revested with wood. We couldn't have the wood uh, inside there. So we needed actually to lift every material up and then go with every material down to the capsules. It was a
That's
long thing.
crazy. Like you
Yeah.
said the whole
And
top platform is a bed. Is that like a mattress? Like you had to get a mattress down the side of the
we had to get the mattress down the side of the mountain. And an important thing to say is that we didn't have the steel systems to walk into the capsules at that moment. We were walking all through the air. The mattress go inside through the air. The woods go inside through the air, through systems, through rope and textile systems. So we made different rope and textile systems to put that, inside,
where
because
where do
we
you
weren't.
find construction workers that can do that?
Oh, it was an interesting thing. It's a small niche there. We worked with very special people. Um, like there's there are some of them that they came from the worlds of the IRATA. IRATA is a certification of access. It's a rope access certification. So many of the people were working in the rope access certification, and there were many people that perhaps there weren't rope access certification guys, but they were making the study to make the rope access certification because they were very good at welding, for example. So if we need some welding thing or some detail, we need some specific person of welding or someone, and he goes with a irata to follow him. So there were many people working on the area. Yeah,
So did you have to get, I mean, I would assume all those people don't live in that area that you did you have to get people from all over the world?
yeah, from all over Argentina, from all over Argentina. Um, There were people from other countries also. There were lots of people participating. There would be like 100 different persons that participate. The small teams were of 12, 13 in territory. Um, Me and Luis had criteria because we were working in ringing systems, so we knew what we are talking. But they were the people that put the hands and take the final decisions of where to like different things. But me and Luis, we were very, very, very near and living there. Actually, we were there all the time. Like we were not in a computer in Buenos Aires. We were living in Chalten there with the people, living up the mountain with them and doing all the work with them. Uh, yeah, it was a long process.
What an amazing opportunity and experience to get to have. I'm just so jealous. What what was your favorite part of the whole process with this project? And have you actually, you better tell me you've stayed in one of these.
Yeah, totally. I think one of the most emotional moments of the project was when we were up with a small team inside the capsule. Like when we actually knew that that was totally possible and that we were inside that capsule, and we were with our welding master Maurito, that is like the person that welded all the systems, and with our head rigging master, with our engineer. We were like 5, 6 people inside the capsule, and we were like making a glass tinting, and we cried. It was like I think that was one important moment. And then when we finally finished all the systems, because uh, there were lots of things to do after we put the 4 capsules. So we had to make all the houses up there, all the water systems. Our water systems are we are taking water from a small cave that is 1 kilometer down the mountain. We do see a drop, a constant, natural, beautiful water drop, and we take the water and we make a 1 kilometer pumping system through the woods. So it's like a very complex project. When we finished all that, and we could take a shower up there, and we were receiving clients, and our first clients was a very big emotion for us also. Like when we actually knew that this experience was enjoyable for other persons. I think that's my favorite part. Like when I finish the project, I see that that dream that we had actually is a thing that the people would not never forget.
I think
So
that being in just hearing everything you've said in the pictures I've looked at, I think just being in it would make me cry. And I'm not the one that did all that work for all that time to make it happen, but I think just being in there and experiencing that would be a very emotional experience for anybody who loves nature, and really
Yeah,
appreciates how big this
yeah,
world is.
yeah. It's a very emotional place. There's a lot of our guests that cry because actually it's very interesting when they see perhaps this in the internet, and when they make the decision of booking it, because it's very important that is all the time booked. There's many people in the world that is knowing, so it's very important to book with time, because the booking is very cool, and it's very good, but it's like you have to be with our eyes open to book. um, and when the people books in the computer, because they see the images and they say, "Oh, this is great and this is beautiful," when they actually go to the property and they put the eyes to it, there's a big emotion there, because you see the height, you see the installation, and when you see it personally, is extremely like people say, I'm not gonna, I cannot. I mean, they see it and they say, I would not go up there. It's too much. So when they follow the experience with the guide and they actually go to the wall and go through the wall and see all the view and go inside the capsule, that moment for them is really emotional. It's really emotional, and that's a very nice thing that we are seeing on all our guests. They are very happy with the decision of going there.
I can only just try to picture it in my head, and it almost feels like a religious experience, and I haven't even been there. So I have to ask this question: how much what is it going to cost me to stay there one night? I imagine this is a once in a lifetime experience, so I expect this to be a very big number.
So at the moment is 1,600 in base of two. So it's at $800 at this moment per person.
That's not bad. I expected
No,
you to say like $25,000 or higher. Eight.
yeah,
I can afford that. Okay, I've got to go
yeah.
do. We have to end this so I can go do some vacation shopping. I'm kidding. Um,
No, yeah. We This is our second season, and it is an it's it, we tried to make it affordable in world terms. I mean,
right.
perhaps for Argentinian people, it's not so affordable, but for foreign peoples, it's totally affordable. Yeah, it's like
Well, plus you
it's
have to
okay.
get to Argentina too, up to wherever this
You have to
place
get to
is. Yeah.
Argentina and to the south of Argentina.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very long way. It's a very long way for sure, but it totally worth it. Like also the property where we are, that is Estancia Bonanza. People check Estancia Bonanza. It's a pearl. It's a beautiful place in the world. So you also can be 2 nights there. Uh, there is it's a big and cool property. So it's like, yeah, it's a nice experience. Like.
Amazing. So tell me, I love to hear about lessons learned. I think that for with every project we do or everything we do in life, we learn something from that. What did you learn? I know it's a thousand things, but something that stands out in your head. What did you learn from this project that you will take forward in your adventures that maybe you didn't know before?
Mm. So first of all, the importance of straight communication is is like being straight and being sincere with the communication with all the team is very important. Being flexible with the decision making without losing the view. Like it's like it's very important to have we are very creative in our way of seeing things, but we know and I know that me as an artist, I have to rely on the data of my engineer team, of my architectural team. So being flexible means to can integrate the strong information of the project and like to know how to adapt that to the vision of the project, because I think that that was a very important thing, like to maintain the the thorough vision of bringing something that doesn't exist to the world, and at the same time know how to be humble to listen to the people that is in your team. So that I think that I that was what I learned in all the time with them, like how to be a big listener, and to be thorough in my questions to them, and to know how to ask what to ask, but at the same time knowing that I'm in this position, and in this case me and Luis, we were in this position because we have a strong vision. So I think that uh, this is a human thing all the time. Always, we are working with materials, and we are working with nature, and we are working with. So the important thing is also for me is like being a good listener also of the space we were working with. Like so that things I think that were my strong learning things, um, and also maintain like this an example that people in the town of Chalten at the first they told us, "You are crazy. You cannot do this." But it's like we listen them, and we take the steps with a lot of small steps. So it's like go small that you're gonna go big. It's like being going small, listening everybody, knowing who to listen and who to not listen too much, knowing to have a criteria, putting limits when you have to put limits, putting limits. So I know that I'm describing a like a direction position, but I think that I I learned to be much more profound on that position in a way, and to be permanent on the vision.
The problems every architect has, by the way. Um, because I mean, if you think about it, architects are typically mostly creatives. The engineers are the technical people, but architects are creatives. And architects often design things that the engineers then come in and say, okay, that's great, but you can't build that. We've got to tweak
Totally.
some things to get it in. And so really respecting the knowledge and expertise that each of your team members bring and figuring that out is really key to having a successful project of any
Totally.
type, let alone a one of a kind first one ever in the whole world. So, before we get to our two closing questions, what are you working on now that I get to call you back later and say, okay, tell me about this one? What are you up to now?
Yeah, so there are some of the projects that are NDA projects that we cannot talk
Okay,
much
right.
about them, but we are developing. We've been developing this these years. For Luis and me, this design is old because it's like a 4 or 5 years old design. So now we are working on a small parametric field that we made to make low weight constructions with different shaping possibilities. So we are working a lot on this system, so we can give actual service to every people, to other countries, because there's many people asking, and we want to work with every people that has big dreams. So it's like, um, we are making we are working the system to get response to that crazy projects, so we can put things over the woods, over in walls, over rivers, or everywhere. But the important thing is that we are working in a system that you can put it and then take it out also. So in a removable and light system, and with different type of shapes. We are working a lot with shapes. So
So, can
we
I
are
put
a
in a
very small
request?
team. Sorry.
Can I put in a request? I want
Yeah.
one where I can zip line off the side of the mountain straight into the unit and land in the hot tub.
Yeah,
So
that's
just
totally that.
add that to your list.
We love that type of defined projects, for sure. Like, we are that's why we are working more now in the system to get the response that, and also, on how we are very fast in working master plans for different types of places. So we also give different types of services. So we can work in the master planning of a place, or we can work designing the structures, but not building them, or we can work in all this project from scratch. So we have different levels of services. So there's
Well,
people perhaps that there's very far from us and they want to work with us. So they take consultancy with us. So that's another way of working.
well, we have a lot of people that listen to this podcast, so hopefully you'll get some calls. Um,
Okay, yeah, we are open to them. Totally.
so I always close with two questions. One of them being a broader industry question. Um,
Oh,
and again, yours is a little different because you are a little different, and this project is a little different, and this just does not deserve a standard question. So, some of the things that I read online describe you as blending art, movement, and innovation. In your opinion, how important is it for design professionals, people that design things, no matter what it is,
mm,
to tap into their creative and artistic side in order to be better designers of these structures? Again,
mm,
regardless of the structure, because you seem to have tapped into that like 1000%. And you've used all this experience because you're not just an artist and creative, but you actually go out and do these stunts and this
yeah.
highlining and spend time up in the air, which I'm sure informed your design. How important do you think that is to be open to that side of yourself?
Yeah. So in my case, I was first open to that side of myself, and I became a doer in the world of architecture. But I feel that there's an experience in the sensation of the air, or in the somatics experience, because I come from a artistic family and we dance a lot and we move a lot and we are movers, and enjoy the movement and the music, and very small things that perhaps I think that has the information to my body and to my mind to 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 make decisions. I always say that I work, and me and Luis are working in memory. So we work in making things that people cannot forget. So I think that forgetting there, I need to live things that I cannot forget. So treasuring the presence of life, treasuring, making my life being memorable in my own experience, I think is a way that I can introduce it to spaces and to architectural projects. Like, That's why we get calls from lots of parts of the world to make these small talks and for these projects, because we see space in between things also. So I've been always, since I'm 20 years old, seeing between buildings, because I wanted to walk between them. So I'm all the time, my sight is trained for that. So we are all the time watching the space in between and feeling what thing we want the people to feel inside there. So I think that that's what informs me. Like that's the sensitive area, to work with, and with the people, I would say to leave things that are memorable to them if they want to work with the memory of people. It's the only way. It's like the only way of living it is working with your own memory first.
I couldn't agree more. One of my favorite things to say to people is go big or go home. If you're going to do it all the way or just stay out of the way. So, final question. We ask every guest this question.
Yeah.
So, I truly hope that all of us in this world try to live a life that leaves some kind of contribution to make the world a better place beyond ourselves. So, for you, personal or professional, for you, that might
Mm.
be all mixed together. What do you hope your impact on the world will be?
Oh, wow.
That's the easiest question of the day.
um, I I think that the thing that I hope is to inspire people to go inside and outside. It's like to inspire people to listen themselves and the people around, and to connect with themselves and with the people around, to make their dreams, um, to actually make their dreams. I think that um, that's a pretty nice thing. Uh, Actually, I'm doing. I don't know if you have 5 minutes, but I'm doing my own artistic work that I'm working at this moment. Is called Balance, Oxygen, and Movement. Is a work. So I'm telling the people, my public, to come to a space, and we actually weave a space between all the public. We weave a space, and then we do a protocol of weaving with all the public. We weave the space, and then we elevate this space. It is inside a cube. So I work with geometry structures. So what I wanted to say here is that we are actually weaving our spaces all the time. We are actually when we are talking, we are weaving. So we are weaving our spaces, and I hope that my work to the world will make people understand that now we are actually weaving, and that it is a power to weave. And the weaving is the conversation. The weaving is the listening of the other persons, the understanding of the difference. The like, I would like to give that service to the people and to inspire them. But I don't know if we're gonna do it. I'm just trying.
I think you're doing a pretty good job here. Ezekiel, I am so honored to be able to get to chat with you today about this project and all these. I'm moved. I'm honestly moved. And that doesn't happen very often. If I can find any way, somehow, someday, I would do it. I would do this, and I would all these other people who are telling me no way, and I don't have that mind. And I agree with you. Your heart behind this and weaving those experiences and making your life bigger. We all have the choice to do that. So thank you so much for joining me today on Detailed, and I
Thank
hope you'll
you.
come back in the future and share more.
Oh, I hope, Cherise. Thank you for everything, and thank you for the space and for the detailed moment. Because many people say fast, and now we could talk. So for me, it's beautiful. Thank you a
Yeah.
lot.
Well, thank you.